Good afternoon, literally. I think it's afternoon. I think it's about maybe 12 in the afternoon. Lovely to see you all again. I hope the feeling's mutual. So today's video is a little bit of a kind of catch up of where I left off, like pre-surgery. If you're new to my channel, I'm hoping this video will be kind of interesting for you. If you're in a similar position to myself or anyone you should know is, last April I was diagnosed under the cancer pathway with ovarian cysts. I had huge ovarian cysts, they were really big. And it wasn't until the 16th of May of this year, so diagnosed April 2023, surgery was the 16th of May 2024, purely because it was the hospital that our local hospital, had a lot of bed blocking because there was nowhere for people to go. Doctor strikes, all of that contributed to sort of like the wait. Anyway, that's neither here nor there now. It feels like an age ago I had the surgery, and it actually isn't. It's 2 weeks today that I had my surgery. I will link in the description box some of the videos I've done leading up to this point, rather than go through the whole sort of story again. If there's anything that you wanted to watch or know, just kind of click on those videos and have a little look at those. The other thing that took quite a length of time for me to be able to get in to have the surgery is because they did my surgery through like a midline open surgery. They kind of named it boob to pube. And given that I've got other illnesses as well, they needed to make sure that there was going to be a bed available for me in intensive care for a couple of days, and then on to like a general ward after that. And that's exactly what happened. So I went in 12 o'clock that day, so midday on the 16th of May for the surgery. Briefly spoke to the surgeon again, spoke to the anaesthetist, you know, got all the stuff out of the way, went over the consent form again, all that sort of stuff. Headed into surgery. I mean, obviously I'd done all the stuff beforehand, like, you know, when you're not meant to be eating, when you can eat, when you're nil by mouth, all that. I do all that at home now. Obviously I made sure I showered the morning that I was going in, because I knew it would be ages before I'd get to be able to wash my hair again, which was a nightmare. So I did stock up on things like dry shampoo. So I would say if you're going to have anything where you know you're not going to be able to shower again for a while, then things like dry shampoo, a definite must. I also did buy things like these big wipes from Boots. Elsie, no, don't bark. It's only a lady go, but Elsie, it's my dog up there. A lady's gone by. They were a godsend, just to give you that little bit of independence to sort of help try and keep yourself a bit cleaner, you know, afterwards. Yeah, so I went in, and then went into like surgery. I was in surgery for roughly 8 hours. Obviously they had to, the surgery is, it is a big surgery, obviously. You know, they had to remove part of the omentum, which is the fat that lays over your organs on your belly. So they have to do that. Obviously, they have to go through, open your stomach muscles, and you're all clamped open, aren't you? So they removed part of the omentum. They removed they removed 3 large, excuse me, ovarian cysts. I had like 2 growing on one, and another one growing, and then another one inside. They were, I think they said something like 18 centimetres by 23-ish, so they were big. And then obviously, oh, so then I had a hysterectomy. I'm backwards and forwards on this, sorry guys. It's just the way my mind's working at the moment. So they removed, I had a hysterectomy well over 30 years ago, but they left the ovaries there, obviously for bone protection, you know. But so they removed the cysts, they removed part of the omentum, they removed the fallopian tubes and the ovaries. They didn't remove the appendix, which they said they may do, but they didn't. Oh, touch wood, I'd never get appendicitis. And then they gave the whole abdominal area and pelvic area a flush through, so they give it a really good wash through. So whatever they wash it with, it goes all around all the organs, so it goes around the liver, the pancreas, all of the spleen. It washes all underneath and comes out, and then obviously they suck all that out, and then that goes off to pathology with everything else that goes off to pathology. And then obviously, you know, stitched up together, etc., and stapled. So I've got a lovely stapled zip down the middle. If you're squeamish, then best to look away now, because I will insert a clip of just when they changed my dressing. They took a photograph for me so I could see what it was like, and so yeah, I'll pop that picture in now. So you can look again now if you're squeamish. Yeah, so I was in intensive care for about 2.5 days. I looked after so well, honestly. You can't fault them at all. Whilst I was in there though, I did develop a chest infection, but then that didn't surprise me, because one of my other illnesses is to do with my chest anyway, so it's something I do sometimes experience after an anaesthetic. And so obviously I had lots and lots of cannulas, great big sort of boxy type things. Again, I can insert a picture for you. So if that doesn't make you cringe or anything like that, then you know it's fine. It's not too graphic or anything. So I had loads of those in. I was on oxygen pretty constantly for maybe 4 days, I suppose. I was on 3 litres, then I went down to 2 litres and gradually came off the oxygen. So 2 lots of antibiotics as well, which were intravenous IV antibiotics. I had some tubes that went directly into the abdomen to the wound area, so that I could, what do they call it, PCA or something, you know, and you can like administer your own drug to help with the pain. And then obviously I was on other like intravenous pain meds and stuff like that. And of course a catheter. I had a catheter for maybe 4 days. initially felt pain immediately, and I think it was probably, I mean, I broke my humerus, as a lot of you know, a few years back. That pain was intensive, but it was a totally different pain, because this was more like an internal pain. With my arm, it was like an outside of body pain, because it was here, whereas this was like the whole of my core hurt. Yeah, it wasn't good. It's probably one of the worst pains I think I felt, but quite short-lived at that intensity, to be fair. But plus I could keep, like, you know, pumping that directly into the abdomen anyway. So of course I didn't see Chris or anybody that because obviously I was in surgery for such a long time and it was late, and then by the time I got on to intensive care and everything, it was late. But I did see Chris. He came up with Luke, my son, the very next day to see me. They were surprised at how good I actually looked, because I was like a really good colour. But I had, in intensive care, you know, it's brilliant. All hands are on deck and you have the most amazing care. I couldn't fault it. I couldn't fault it at all. I just could not eat food at all. They do sort of try to tempt you, but I mean, it's just, I was drinking though. I was drinking lots of water and had fluids pumped through all the time anyway. But food-wise, oh gosh, I couldn't even fancy food if I even tried for probably 3 days, something like that. But yeah, I just slept. Most of the time I just slept. I was exhausted. I was very tired. And of course they say, don't they, you know, like your body's telling you to sleep and to rest, and that's what it needs. And so I did. I took advantage of making sure I listened to my body and to the professionals. It's really weird, you know, because the day after surgery, the anaesthetist came out to see me. And normally when I've had anaesthetics, I always remember them taking the tube out. I can feel it, you know. And I said to him beforehand, I always feel the tube coming out. He said to me, do you remember anything about your before and after surgery? And he said, what's the last thing you remember? I said, well, I remember you sort of talking to me, holding the mask on my face, quite firmly as well. It was like really firm. And I remember him putting something on my forehead as well, which turns out, if you're having a very long surgery and you have to be very deeply put out, they put like a Velcro thing across your forehead, and it's wired up to something, and it reads your brain activity for the whole duration of the surgery. And he said, and what's the first thing you remember when you woke up? I said, just Lo's faces looking down on me. He said, you don't remember taking the tube out or anything? And I said, no, I didn't feel that at all. I don't remember that at all, for the first time ever. And he said, and you don't remember anything else? I said, no. He said, because I need to tell you that we had to give you so much anaesthetic. He said, I'm only telling you now because should you need to have any more surgery in the future, you need to be telling the anaesthetist that we had trouble getting you off to sleep properly, like really getting me under. He said, and every time we thought, oh, just try a little bit more, your brain activity on this thing that they read, he said it was just fluctuating all over the place, which meant you weren't under. So we had to keep giving you more and more and more. And we were thinking, my gosh, how much more are we going to have to give this lady? And then he said we'd stop and see how that went, and it was all right for a little while, and all of a sudden your brain activity would start again, so we were having to give you more. And I was like, oh right, okay, well I'll bear that in mind, but that's never been said to me before, you know. And he said, and you don't remember anything at all? I said, no. And he said, well, it wouldn't be unusual if a few months down the line you have a few flashbacks, which put fear of God at me, honestly. It really frightened me. And he said, if it may not happen, but if it does, he said, just ring up and speak to the anaesthetist team and we'll bring you in and we'd like to talk you through some things. And I was like, right, okay. And I thought, well, I don't want to ask anything. I know instinctively you want to say, well, tell me what happened. Is there anything that you need to be telling me that happened? But I don't want to know, because I think if I know, if they tell me something happened, in my mind I might start reliving it. Even if I don't remember it, I might like sort of subconsciously think, oh my God, that happened, and start dreaming about it or something, even though so I'd rather not know. So if anything does happen in the future, it'd be like a genuine remembrance thing. Do you know what I mean? So that was a little bit odd. I find that completely odd, but I certainly don't want to know, and I hope it never happens. But I certainly don't remember anything. Since then, after that, so after sort of like a few days, I went down to a normal ward, and gradually sort of got into recovery, you know. I started to eat, but the food I just couldn't fancy. Some of it I did, you know, some of it was okay. I'm not knocking the food at all. Some of it was okay. A lot of it was me, I just didn't fancy. I felt nothing tasted right. Everything tasted so bland. And I just couldn't wait to get home to start eating like things with flavours in again. So yeah, that was that really. Chris did bring me in a few snacks, you know, that were there if I wanted them, if I fancied them. And then gradually as sort of time went on, like obviously physio came out, they got me out of bed, got me walking. I was a little bent over, although I've been living bent over for well over a year with these things I had. And so I was remarkably surprised at how quickly I started to straighten up, because obviously with this midline section here. What else can I tell you that you might find interesting? Within days I had started to recover so much more. I felt more like myself, like independent. I'm quite a strong person, and I do believe in being sort of strong-minded and mind over matter and stuff like that. Always been like that. I keep looking out there, not because I'm looking at anything, because I'm trying to remember. What else happened? Yes, as I say, physio came out. There was a point, I had a couple of different physios. I had a very young one, she was lovely, but I don't think she'd probably been qualified that long, and so although she was extremely good at her job, probably didn't have an awful lot of intuitive experience. Like, she could just see how somebody was managing, other than it all being textbook type of stuff. And she was like, no, you won't be able to go home until such time as we've got your commode at home, because you won't be able to do stairs, because we don't have a downstairs bathroom, toilet, it's all upstairs. And I said, wow, I could, you know, stay upstairs maybe for a bit. She said, no, we still won't, unless there's a commode downstairs, you won't be able to go home, and all this. And I'm thinking, oh, for goodness sake. And then I had a different physio, an older lady who has been qualified for years on end, and I think she can just sort of like suss people a little easier. And it's experience, and it'll come to the other lady as well, won't it, you know. But she was like, okay, let's see if we can sort of get you to do stairs. Obviously you've got stairs at home. I was like, yep, okay, come on, let's do it, sort of thing. And so we were doing like these stairs, and I was just holding on very lightly and sort of 1 foot on like this and 1 foot off like this, and on and off and on, so on and so on. But that's how I've been doing stairs for over a year, when I had all this problem anyway, because of the pain in the groin and the weight and the discomfort and everything else. You know, the pressure that I had, I just couldn't move one leg in front of the other anyway beforehand. Anyway, so we did that. We were chatting away, and she said, "Don't think you even realise that you're talking to me as well as doing those exercises." And I said, "Do you know what? I didn't. It just seemed like natural to do it." And I said, "Do you know what?" I said, "It's just occurred to me, and I didn't think of it before, but it's literally just occurred to me that I don't have any pain in my groins. Whereas before, the pain before was excruciating. Oh my gosh, it was terrible." And I said, "I don't have any pain now at all." Anyway, cut a long story short on that, she was like, "Yeah, you're fine to go home." And I'm like, "So I don't need to get a commode at home?" She was like, "No." And I said, "Oh, it's only because the last lady that I saw said you wouldn't discharge me, because if physio don't discharge you, still can't go home." And she was like, no. She said, I said, "No, physio said that the last lady said I couldn't go home without a commode." She was like, "You'll be absolutely fine. I can see you can do stairs. You were talking to me while you were doing it. You're confident. I'm confident too. Sign you off to say you can go home." So that was, yes, hallelujah. Another tick, you know. So then it was like, following that, it was just previous to that, I'd started like wheeling myself off to the toilet, and I'd stand and have a little bit of a wash. I'd wheel myself up with all my stuff in hand and everything. And then maybe a couple of days later, something like that, I had catheter was removed, so that was a godsend. I felt so much freer. And then gradually they started like reducing everything, like, you know, they moved me onto oral antibiotics so that I'd be able to carry on with them at home. So they did that. They turned down the pain relief that was going into the abdomen, so that was a much lower dose. I was starting to get lower on that. I was still on oral pain relief and say the antibiotics, and then gradually they turned the pain relief, the tubes that were going in, they turned that down, turned that off, but left it there in case I needed it, but I didn't. I was determined not to. Oh, sorry, I just have to hold on to my stomach when I cough. Yes, and then I just kept saying, "Oh, can I go home, please? Can I go home, please?" Because I know that once I get home, I recover a lot more, because like I think most of us do, hospitals are so noisy. The minute you try and have a dose, someone's around doing this, doing that, doing the other. You've got other visitors in the ward. There were 6 of us in the ward, and all at different scenarios, you know, and all struggling in our own, within our own sort of bodies and what was wrong with us. I had a lady to the left of me that was not in a good state at all, and they often had big teams looking after her in the night. Oh, I also had the air ambulance pad, the landing pad, just outside of my window, which I loved. I really enjoyed seeing that. However, it was like a really sad event to see, because obviously if someone's been whipped in by air ambulance, it's not a great scenario, is it? Do you know what I mean? Oh, my little grandson, I love seeing things like this. He's so interested in it. I hope that person is alright though. I really do. No, but it will be. It will be. Just let it go. Okay. So yeah, then eventually I got another doctor came out. It's so funny when your children all seem older than the medical team that are looking after you. Anyway, so yeah, eventually this really lovely doctor came out and he said, look, as soon as rheumatology say that you can go, then we're happy to let you go, because rheumatology were involved in my care as well. What's she seen that she's barking at? Don't know. And this lovely doctor, he was such a handsome young man as well, to examine me. I thought, oh, you poor thing. But they've seen it all right. And he said, do you know what? He said, I think you can go home. And I was like, yes, I am so happy. I said, you've done the least work. Because it's the first time I've seen him. I said, you've done the absolute least work for me, and you've given me the best news ever. Thank you so much. So I was straight on the phone to Chris. I can come home. Come and get me. I can come home. So then, of course, you have to wait. Obviously, you have to wait for pharmacy to come up to give you all your drugs, antibiotics, all the rest of it. You have to have all your cannulas out. I had to have all these tube thingies out. Though he did all of that. And then basically I came home. So my surgery was 2 weeks ago today. I was in surgery right now, which seems absolutely bizarre. Since then I'm still taking the pain relief they've given me. I'm still on antibiotics. I've got 2 different types of antibiotics, which resulted in, of course, me getting thrush. Yeah, great. We all know what that's like, or a lot of us know what that's like, right? So anyway, that's dealt with now. I've had my dressing changed once before I came home from the hospital. I've had my dressing changed by the nurse whilst at home, and today, 2 weeks to the day, I have my clips taken out today, yes. So it's all kind of like tick, tick, tick. I'm nearly off the antibiotics. They're very nearly finished, thank goodness. I dropped just over a stone immediately. I'm still very swollen because obviously I've got a lot of internal stuff going on, and I'm still a little misshapen. And I said, will this correct itself? And they said, yeah, it's just that where for so long you've had these cysts have pushed other organs out of the way and in the wrong place, sort of thing, and now everything can move in and settle. And not to forget that you've had a huge surgery with a huge amount of internal stitches and organs removed, you know, and muscles, stomach muscles sewn back into place, and all the rest of it, and obviously the external clips as well. So yes, it will be swollen for a while, but obviously, you know, in time it will all kind of fall back into place. And it's really weird because sometimes I get a sharp pain and I feel like something has moved. Oh, the other thing I came home with is blood thinning injections. So I'm having to give those to myself morning and night for a month. So I've still got maybe 3 weeks left of those to do. So my stomach is one big bruised mess anyway because of those. What else? Pathology wise, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't had any results. However, I have had my appointment to go back on the 10th of June for my follow-up, so I'm assuming if there's anything untowards, that will be the time when they will tell me at that point. So I'll keep you posted on that, but let's cross everything that there is anything there. Although it was done under the cancer pathway, apparently when you have certain types of ovarian cysts, it can give a false positive to like having cancer, but obviously they don't know that until they've actually got in there, they've removed everything and they've sent it all off to pathology. But apparently it's all to do with the hormones. It can give you this result, but at the time you don't really know until they've done it all. So that's what I'm kind of waiting to find out before I can move on entirely. If I hope to goodness it's a negative, obviously, and there's nothing to worry about, I can just recover and just move on with my life. If it's not, then it's the next journey, right? And so we'll be fighting that lot together, right? Okay, with regards to dealing with it all now, the exhaustion has been pretty unreal. Elsie, don't bark. Elsie. Yeah, the exhaustion's been something else that took me by surprise, in all honesty, because although on one hand I felt really good, I was walking more upright than I had in a whole year. No. Good girl. Good girl, yes. And I don't have the pain in my groin or that awful like sensations that I had before. That's all really, really positive. But then it's almost like a little bit of a false feeling, because I'd feel good and then I'd do something, and I'm not talking about anything major at all, but like sit and fold the washing up, because I just need to do something. I can't not do anything. And then afterwards to be hit by, goodness me, this exhaustion that I just threw me, didn't know where it was coming from, you know. But I've listened to my body, and when it's told me to have a sleep or have a rest, I do, and if I doze off, I do. Luke and Chris are being absolutely amazing looking after me. Luke is my new master chef. He's incredible with the cooking skills that he's now got. So much so that we actually bought him a master chef apron with his name on it and the logo. Chris is just an absolute diamond of a husband as well, you know, and obviously without family and my lovely friends on here on my YouTube channel, where you've all cheered me up so much with your lovely messages, whether they've come through as a private message to me or in the comments, and I've read everything. I know I haven't replied to hardly any, and it's not that I don't intend to. I have the intention of, and I might do the odd one, and then I'm like, oh, I'm too tired now. But I know that you all get it, and I know you all totally understand. What else have I really got to cover? Buying things to go into hospital for this sort of thing. I definitely would recommend night dresses. I was on like a forum on Facebook for ovarian cysts and stuff like that, and listened to a lot of ladies. And especially if you know you're going to have like catheters and stuff like that in, having a nightie is a lot easier, because literally you just have to pull it up. There's no, you've got nothing around your middle with pajamas or anything like that. you know, probably if you're having it done keyhole and stuff, it might be totally different ball game. But if you're not, if you're having like an open surgery, then I'd suggest having nothing around your middle at all. I would even say, you know, like if you're gonna have to wear knickers at all, then wear ones that would go just to the top of the pubic area, not high, whereas I like a good old high old-fashioned knicker. But or if you can, like they said to me, go commando as much as you can, just to like leave the tummy completely free. So I've done that a fair bit. Socks, now I bought some really nice sort of cashmere mixed socks to go in with because I get really, really cold feet. And I thought, I'm going to really treat myself some decent socks to keep my feet all snugly warm. Well, I never even put them on. They were never even put on my feet. First of all, you know, obviously you're in your leg stocking thingies so that you don't get DVTs all the time anyway. But also because I had a temperature, because I had the infection, I couldn't have stood anything on my feet. But they're not a waste because I've got them for like the winter anyway. But I would say things that are definitely necessary are, I'd say definitely get yourself some nice wipes, maybe for your face and some for your body, because just to be able to like go wipe underneath your armpits, under your boobs, and you know, felt great just to feel a little bit fresher. Dry shampoo is an absolute must. And everything else I think is just like pretty normal stuff that you take into hospital anyway. But nighties are my definite recommendation for anything like this anyway. In fact, I'm in this nightie now. This is an M&S one and it's cotton, so lovely and cool. That's the other thing. Try not to get like polyester or anything like that, because you know, you sweat so much anyway, because the beds in the hospital, they've all got like plastic covers on the pillows and everything, and you do sweat. A fan, that's it, a fan. I had a couple of little fans that I'd got from Temu actually, and I took one of those in, and then Chris bought me in another little one, and they were just brilliant because you know what it's like. They're so busy in hospital, aren't they? If I'd asked for a fan, would they have had one? Would they have had the time to get it? So I thought, if I've just got my little handheld ones there, you know, you can just sort of like squish it all over you, and actually you could just sit them on the side of your little table, you know, that goes over the bed anyway. And that's what I did. And honestly, I really recommend nighties and a fan, and the wipes most definitely. Dry shampoo. So from now on, as I say, I've got clips out today. That's at 5:30 this afternoon. So we'll do an update at some point, probably like 2 weeks from today, maybe. It might be just included in another video, actually, just as a very quick update as to how I'm doing. But then as time goes on, just a more in-depth progress as to how I'm doing. Obviously, if I get whatever news I get on the 10th of June, that will be shared with you. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and just update you because I said I would, and lots of you are asking how I'm doing, and I feel a massive achievement that I've got through it. It was something I've been living with for a while. I was dreading. I've come out the other side, and thank God for that. And yeah, I just thank all of you, every single one of my family, my friends on here on my YouTube channel, and anyone that's new to my channel who I haven't even yet really met. Thank you for clicking on my video. And yeah, I hope you stay and we get to know each other. So I'm going to love you and leave you now. Washing machine's on in the background. I actually did put that on, didn't bring the washing down or anything like that. I just put the stuff in, put it on, Miss Independent, you know. But yeah, I'm going to save waffling on any longer. I'm going to love you and leave you. I will touch base with you all again very soon in the next video. Take care of yourselves, my lovelies, won't you? See you soon. Bye.